Welcome back to the Brooklyn Property Market Update, brought to you by Engel & Volker's Brownstone Brooklyn. My name, of course, is Katriona, and I'm joined today by Donald Brennan, and we're both right here back in Brooklyn.
Yeah, great to be back. Vacation was fantastic. A lot of time away out west. Really enjoyed it, but always like to get back home, back to work.
Definitely. Same here. It was nice to get back to my country of birth, for sure. But it's also nice to come home as well. So we're going to talk this week about our quarterly report because our 2Q report has just been published and it focuses on the same 16 key neighborhoods that we do with our weekly data. But of course, it's on closed transactions, those deals that have actually been recorded in the public record and have sold, as opposed to our weekly data, which is for new to market and in contract listings. We've got back, obviously, several years, so it's great to be able to look at the trends that the data is telling us. So we know that 2Q 2021 versus 2Q 2020 was always going to show a massive difference because, no surprises, we were in a lockdown situation last year. But perhaps it's going to surprise people quite how strong the numbers were. So Donald, give us the key highlights for the level of deal activity.
So, you're quite right there. Year over year, no big surprise. We're up 176% for townhouse volume and 292% for condominium volume for second quarter 2020. That's again not a surprise. What is interesting though is that the volume overall relative to what's occurred over the last 6 years, it was incredibly strong. The townhouse performance in the second quarter of this year outpaced every second quarter looking back 6 years. So that was really interesting. And we're going to see where that may lead to in the third quarter. Overall strength there, and also with condominiums. Likewise, almost a record number, not quite what occurred back in third quarter 2017, but likewise quite strong.
So if we focus and go back to townhouses, what is the data telling us in terms of perhaps any adjustments or increases there may or may not have been in the closed average sales price and that dollar per square foot numbers that we see across the neighborhoods?
Yeah, so our ranking of the neighborhoods is fairly consistent with what has happened in the past. Looking at a gross, when we rank the townhouse neighborhoods by townhouses on a gross price basis, we have Brooklyn Heights, Cobble Hill, Carroll Gardens, Park Slope, Fort Greene, Borum Hill, Clinton Hills, kind of the top neighborhoods there, and that's fairly consistent. The dollar per square foot measurements for those rankings as well is almost exactly in line as well. A little bit of differences there, but definitely the top 3 or 4, the dollar per square foot follows the gross price in the ranking. Clinton Hill did exceptionally well year over year and also quarter over quarter. A neighborhood where maybe people thought there would be significant price appreciation due to demand and the short time frames where properties were going to contract in Fort Greene and the kind of $3 million, $4 million price range. We did not see that in the data for the second quarter. It may appear in the third quarter, but so far, right now, we're flat basically year over year and actually a little bit down quarter over quarter. So I think that could be a surprise for some people based on what was happening kind of on the street in the market out there, with people queuing up to see these homes and making offers to put these properties into contract very quickly.
So the condominium market has really come out strongly this past quarter, and particularly after last year's lockdown. Is that not true, Donald?
Yep, just like townhouses, doing well second quarter relative to other past second quarters. The number of deals for condominiums only just kind of short of the record number back in 2017. We're over $1 billion there in the third quarter. What's interesting is that for the luxury segment, above $2.25 million, we had a dead heat in number of deals going into contract at 150, both for resales and new development. So equal 50-50 split. Below that number, a little bit different, a little bit of an imbalance towards the resales, where it was about 40% more resales went into contract in the last 10 weeks or so versus new development. So, and as we know, new development, long pipeline projects are, start years in the past. Marketing starts before occupancy can occur, deals go into contract. And now, of course, we're seeing all the closing. So, big delay there for the pandemic as far as construction timelines went. And a lot of these new product coming in cycles here, closing last quarter.
So here we are in mid-July already, and with such a healthy 2Q picture, what are we thinking about 3Q right now, particularly when we look at the weekly data that we've had so far in July?
Yeah, so the weekly data certainly is signaling some kind of, definitely strong closing volume coming down the pike here. If it occurs in the third quarter, fourth quarter, we're not really sure, depending on what those timelines are. But a very strong amount of contract activity over the last 10 weeks, as I just mentioned. And historically, with the exception of last year, third quarters always outperformed second, first, and fourth quarters in total volume. It kind of points to the seasonality that occurs here in the marketplace for certain assets. Townhouses certainly kind of get that attention late spring, early summer. Most people are out there looking, trying to secure something, go away for the summer, come back in August, and they have their home kind of all set up to move into for the fall. And that's typically what we see here. So if you follow that, if you look at that cycle and look at the number of deals that have actually gone into contract, we could be looking at a very strong third quarter coming up here as far as townhouse sales go.
That's what we're all hoping for sure. So that's it from us this week. We'll see you next week.
Take care. See you next week.
Bye.